What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. And first off, before we get started on the video, I just wanted to apologize for my absence. I just started the new semester this week. It's August 31st, and this past week was the first week of school. So, kind of getting back in the groove of it, doing assignments and trying to stay afloat. Kind of intervene, so it will kind of affect future uploads. But now that I'm kind of in the know, it should be returning semi-normal. But anyways, as you guys can tell by the title of the video, today we're taking a look at action figure collecting as a whole, but kind of how you could get more enjoyment out of your collecting. Recently, I won't name any names because there's a lot of people that I've seen making this point, but I've seen a lot of kind of I would consider negative takes on action figure collecting, kind of trying to attribute it to being like gambling or kind of like some kind of high. And I know for some people it is, but for like myself, I don't really like those kinds of videos because I think it's like putting a negative light on action figure collecting. And if you are one of those people who's collecting just for the like just to kind of buy something, kind of like a buying addiction, then I would say you should definitely either seek help or maybe ease back a little bit. I would always say that action figure collecting should never interfere with your financial like health or any kind of decision. Like you shouldn't be missing a car payment because you're buying a definitive version of Spider-Man or something. Like I'll completely put that out there. I'm not encouraging that, and if anything, I discourage that, and I completely disagree with that. But with that, I don't think you should look at collecting like a chore. If you do, then maybe it's time to take a pause from the hobby and maybe take a seat back and look at really what your goals are, right? So that's kind of what I wanted to accomplish with this video. Just because, like I said, I've seen a lot of negative videos coming out about this, so I kind of wanted to switch it up, give my take on it, and also, help you guys out. So if you're in that rut, to kind of get you out of it. So first off, we'll be looking and talking about what kind of collectors there are. Now, in my opinion, I would say that the big two are collecting and then variety. So, a collection, I don't know the actual definition of it, according to the encyclopedia, if you will, or dictionary. But in my eyes, I see collecting as you are collecting a series of action figures in this scenario or things to complete a set, right? So, like, if you can see on this guy's display, he has a pretty decent blue team going on. Like, he pretty much has all the members of a X-Men blue team, and I think I've talked about it before that this is the team that I'm trying to get. He's missing a couple key characters like Psylocke and Beast, but overall, it looks like he's collecting towards a blue team. He has Colossus there, so that's kind of one of the ways to look at it, right? We also have this guy doing the Defenders, Spider-Man, Cap, Daredevil, Doctor Strange, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Moon Knight. Yeah, so it looks like this guy's kind of has a pretty decent collection going. Now, variety, you kind of start seeing a little bit, even in this guy's collection over here. Like, we have a really big mixture of villains. We have Hercules, which is usually a Thor villain or Hulk villain. We have Bullseye, which is a Daredevil villain, Green Goblin and Venom, and Electro, and Vulture. So he has like four of a Sinister Six team right there. So that's not that bad. But then we have the random Juggernaut, which they're all good action figures. I'm not trying to discredit, but that's kind of this guy's kind of more in the middle rather than a collector or a variety collector, right? I would consider a variety character someone like this, and shout out to all of these guys. Again, I don't mean this in any negative way, just kind of using it as a base for context. Now here he has a Marvel Legends Silver Surfer, the Mayfix Ben Affleck. We have I believe that's Mayfix Wonder Woman. Also Bane, Rebel Tech, Deadpool, McFarlane, Batman from the one of the older films. You have the Kingdom Come. I forgot what studio made this. We have the Kyoto, Moon Knight, and then I'm pretty sure these are Hot Toys of the Battinson, and then Henry Cavill Batman or Superman. Sorry about that. So that's kind of the two collectors that I would say exist, and then kind of choosing which collector you are can vary on what what you enjoy, right? And that's kind of gonna be nearing the end of the video. So I highly encourage you stay to listen to everything, as I think if you really pay attention to what I'm saying and take some of my advice, I feel like you'll get a lot more enjoyment out of collecting. Now, there's nothing wrong with being either of the two, right? And kind of, I would say the things that kind of influence that are one of two, right? So here we're taking a look at a couple of the original Marvel Legends Toy Biz packs, and I feel like back then it was easier to be a collector just because I'm pretty sure. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I was not collecting when the Toy Biz days. I was like 4 years old when most of these packs came out. So I was really young. I did get a couple of the Toy Biz figures when I was really young, but like I said, I missed out on most of it. But stuff like this, if Hasbro released stuff like this at a reasonable price, I feel like most people would probably be collectors, like completing teams, staying focused. Because I mean, right here you have an entire team already done, including the extras. Like you have the little robot dude, you have the baby, I believe his name's like I forgot his damn name already. Yeah, you have the whole Fantastic Four, and you have the villain, which is pretty insane to think that they were including stuff like this. Now this, I believe this is probably more of like street tier. I don't think it's really completing because you have like Punisher here, which is usually just kind of on his own. You have Spider Man, you have Daredevil, and then you have Electro, which these two go together, but Punisher and Spider Man are kind of random as you never really see them team up like that, right? We're about to in the new movie, but I'm kind of, jumping the gun. So I would say that that's kind of one way to look at collecting. That's one way that it influences people's collecting choices. And then the other would be hype. Now, again, this is Ultimate Luke. He has, 8,000 followers. He's a pretty popular toy photographer. And I will say that sometimes influencers influence, right? I've been I wouldn't say a victim. I'm not trying to point it in a negative light, but I have been caught where I've bought something because it's popular, and I really don't end up liking it, right? Which is why now I've taken a much more relaxed seat back when it comes to a lot of these releases, because sometimes I'm not gonna lie, you can get excited. You can, really want to make a fake figure look good, which I've never really understood that. Like, you should only have your own feelings. You should never really be influenced by a company or whatever to speak well of a figure. It should always be like your own opinion, your own thoughts. But sometimes, like this, right? I don't know about you guys, but sorry about that. I don't know how many times I've seen this caption before. The best Spider-Man figure, the best Batman figure, the best X figure, insert whatever character figure ever. And sometimes this can influence people. This can make you think like, huh, this guy with 8,000 followers is saying this is the best Batman figure ever. So, I've been looking for a reason to buy a really good Batman. This guy's saying it, like, I'm going to take his word for it. And you buy it, and you end up really not enjoying it because it's not what you would want for your interpretation of Batman, right? Now that's not saying that these guys are these like people that you should just never take their advice or care for their opinion, because like I said, a lot of these guys have a lot of experience in this hobby, so sometimes they know better than others and might be able to point you in a better direction. But overall, you should never let the hype decide why you buy a figure. I recently did that with the Amazing Yamaguchi One Punch Man. Now, this post specifically was the one who pretty much influenced me to buy this figure, right? This and a collection of everything, but I was like, God damn, this guy is willing to buy 8 Amazing Yamaguchi One Punch Man figures, so it must be really good. Now, again, I'm not trying to bash on this guy or, say that it's his fault that I didn't like the figure. That's absolutely not the case. But I was pretty hyped up. I was like, damn, it had just come out. It was like maybe like out for like a couple days, and I saw this and I was like, damn, man, that thing looks good. And I bought it, and obviously you can go ahead and watch my review on it. I gave my thoughts there, but long story short, I did not enjoy this figure at all. I really did not like this. So that's kind of why I warn you guys to not get caught up in the hype, as a lot of times if you buy things for the hype without doing your actual research, or kind of thinking like, oh, it's popular, it's not that much of a design I like, but because it's popular it must be good, so I'm gonna buy it. I mean, this guy is like $120, you know what I mean? So that's a big that's a big like maybe figure to buy, right? But let's go ahead and move on to my next. Okay. Now for this next part, I'm going to be talking about volume or quality. Now, this is something that you can fall into without even realizing it, right? So, I would say probably the most egregious example of this happening is with Spider-Man figures. I feel like if you've collected for a while, we've all been there. You see a new Spider-Man that looks pretty cool, and your immediate excuse in your head is there's a Spider-Verse, so if it always fits in. Well, it does, but it doesn't mean that you're gonna get continuous gratification or enjoyment out of every release of Spider-Man. I recently got rid of like 7 Spider-Man figures that I had, and I'm down to 2 Spider-Man figures now because I fell into this. I had a lot. I had more. I had a lot more than what I'm talking about. But I sold those previously, and pardon me. But yes, as I was saying, I had sold those previously because I found myself collecting like pretty much every Spider-Man figure that came out. Now, kind of as an example here, there's a lot of Spider-Man figures that you can buy specifically from Marvel Legends, right? That's why I say like I think Marvel Legends is probably the most slippery slope that you can do because there's the maximum. There's symbiote Spider-Man, there's the movie Spider-Mans, there's different versions of Spider-Mans like that you can just never stop collecting Spider-Mans from Marvel Legends. But more doesn't always equate to more enjoyment, right? I've like I said, I have a lot of experience in that field, especially because Spider-Man is my favorite, character from Marvel. So I was constantly excusing it with, it's the Spider-Verse. Spider-Man's my favorite. You could ever never have enough Spider-Man until I finally did, and I found myself having like 15 Spider-Mans in the collection, and I'm just like, what the hell am I doing? Like they take up a lot of space, and it's nothing. So the counter to that is investing, and yes, I considered investing in a very, very high quality Spider-Man that will pretty much cover all kind of areas for you, right? Now, this guy just came out. They just announced him, so he doesn't come out until next year. I believe it said March of next year is when this guy officially comes out. But for me, this is probably going to be for the near future. This will probably be one of the last Spider-Man figures that I ever buy. I have been absolutely praying to God that He would bless us with a, Spider-Man figure, and the Lord finally answered my prayers, and we have a Marvel vs. Capcom Spider-Man. This is probably not just this design of Spider-Man, but I believe Marvel vs. Capcom or Capcom really captured the essence and probably gave us the best designs overall of every single character that they produced. Every single character. So, this for me, this will be my definitive Spider-Man until someone makes a Gabriel Delato Spider-Man, which I'll show artwork for that somewhere. Or let me go ahead and pull one up. Okay, this is Gabriel Delato Spider-Man. Mayfex, if you're listening, make this and you will have made my definitive Spider-Man. I will buy like 3 of these just to have them all over my house. Like this is like my definitive version of Spider-Man, right? This one is a little bit more cartoonish, but if someone makes this, they'll have my heart. I promise you that. But anyways, I don't want to get carried away. This is a definitive version that you can get, but there's also obviously Mayfex, which a lot of people consider this to be the end all be all Spider-Man. I've always liked this Spider-Man. I'm not switching up on it now that, SH Figure Arts, but I have never been a big fan of the proportions. I have always thought that Spider-Man is very lacking in muscle definition and in muscle mass. He is way too like oddly proportioned, right? And the fact that they've used this with every single Spider-Man figure that they've produced is kind of ridiculous. So this is also one that people usually fall into with Mafex, is they have so many Spider-Man figures that look exactly the same, and that's kind of one of the reasons, right? Is if Marvel Legends was putting out different Spider-Mans like this, and then different artworks and different looking Spider-Man, I would say, hey, you can't go wrong with that, to be honest, because they're not the same figure. But obviously, Marvel Legends doesn't do that. They usually have Spider-Man figures on the same book, just different paint apps, and they all kind of, look the same. So that, take that for what you will. But I would definitely say that I personally am a quality over quantity type of collector. So that has helped me, improve my collecting experience. I enjoy these figures, although it's not as many. I enjoy the ones that I get a lot longer and a lot more. I actually still enjoy all the Spider-Man figures that I have. That's why I kept them. But kind of, let's go ahead and move forward. One last example that I'll throw in there is, the Fantastic Four, She-Hulk, and then the regular one. Um, you can still get it for a decent price on like Mercari and stuff. But this is another one that kind of is a little bit different, right? Obviously, they're completely different looks, same body type, but this one checks one box and this one checks another. So this is kind of one example of variety that I would say is okay. You can go ahead and slap this one in with your Fantastic Four, and this one can kind of be your general, comic style She-Hulk. But let's go ahead and continue forward. Now, for my final chapter, if you will, for this video, I don't want to drag it on too long, but like I said, I really want to help you guys the most, is definitive versions of characters. Now, the reason I bring this up is specifically because of this Psylocke. For me, I have been wanting a Psylocke for a while. She is a key factor in the blue team of the X-Men that I'm trying to complete. And I just think that this figure is amazing. From the proportions to the accessories to the look, everything about this figure is definitive for me. It checks all the boxes. I went ahead and customized it myself. It does not come with this shading. I did all of this. The proportions are amazing. I love these freaking accessories. They are so easy to mess around with, and they look so good. That translucent peak with the darker, it's just amazing. This is my definitive version of Psylocke. Funny enough, from Marvel Legends, I hope that Tamashi makes one, or even Mafex updates theirs. Chances are they'll probably just do a repaint, but with SH Figure Arts also taking it, their spin at the Gamerverse line, maybe we'll get an even better version of Psylocke from there, which I'll probably buy too because I love Psylocke. I think she's an amazing X-Men, and I'd be amazed to have two versions of this. But for this one, if they never do, I'll be completely fine because for the time being, like I said, unless someone makes a better version of this with the curves and everything, I don't need another Psylocke. This is absolutely amazing for me. I really like it. She poses amazingly with other figures. She poses amazingly on her own, and it's just a definitive version of a character that I've been wanting for a long time. So, although I paid a pretty decent price for this, right? I think I got the 2-pack for like $80. Originally retails for 60, so it wasn't that bad, but it was a lot for a Marvel Legends figure in my opinion. But since it checks a box and I don't need another version, I don't. If Tamashi makes one, I will buy it because I want it, not because I need it. I got this part of the team. It's done. I don't need another version of this. Same thing can be said with pretty much any other version of a character that's expensive. As long as it's definitive and you don't need another one, I think it's worth the price. This is my definitive Batman as well. Like I said, I added the paint to him. This is now my definitive Batman. I don't need another one. I really don't. I might want another one, but I don't need it, right? I needed a Batman. This checked that box. I'm done with it. I really don't need any other Batmans. I'm actually selling all my other Batman figures because I have this one. I don't need it. So, kind of with that, I'll end it off with saying always buy what you enjoy the most, right? As you can see, even on my page, this is my page, I have a pretty diverse selection of action figures, right? I have anything from plain male bodies to Marvel Legends to imports to McFarlane's to custom, more modded figures to bootlegs, third parties to Warhammer. I have a large variety of figures, but what I always maintain in mind is I buy what I enjoy the most, and if that's a little bit of everything, then that's what it is, right? But just be sure of your purchases. Buy with intent to enjoy, not intent to fill a void or to just buy something, right? To impulse purchase. That's what I would say. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts. Go ahead and share them down in the comments. Any video ideas, anything like that, drop it down in the comments. I always try to answer every single comment that's posted on my videos. And as always, I appreciate you guys if you could drop a like, share the video and subscribe as it continues to help grow the channel. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and y'all have a great day. Peace.